This is Mr. Eugene, and today we're having the conversation that completes something we started a few months ago. Back then, we discussed the father-to-son talk about women, the honest truths that society has tried to ban, but that every young man needs to hear before he enters the relationship marketplace unprepared. That video resonated deeply with a lot of people, and the most common request I received in the comments was this: now do the father-to-daughter version. What truths do fathers need to tell their daughters about men, about relationships, about how to recognize a good man and how to treat him when she finds him? So that's what we're doing today. And let me be clear from the start, this is not going to be comfortable. The honest conversation that fathers need to have with their daughters contradicts almost everything that modern culture teaches girls about men, about relationships, about their own value and their own responsibilities. But the cost of not having this conversation is daughters who enter adulthood completely unprepared for the reality of what actually creates lasting love with a good man. Daughters who drive away the best men through behavior nobody ever told them was destructive, who waste their most valuable years chasing men who were never going to commit, who arrive at 35 with a string of failed relationships and no understanding of what went wrong. Your daughter deserves better than that, and you're the only one positioned to give it to her, not her mother, who will teach her from a female perspective that may or may not align with what actually attracts and keeps good men, not her friends, who know as little as she does, not social media, which is actively lying to her, you, her father, the first man she ever loved, the model against which she'll measure every man she ever meets, the person whose approval and guidance will shape how she sees herself and what she believes she deserves. This is your responsibility. And today we're going to walk through exactly what that conversation needs to include. The truths about men that will protect her. The truths about good men versus bad men that will help her choose wisely. The truths about her own value and how to maintain it. And the truths about what good men need from good women that will help her keep a loving man once she finds him. Before we begin, let me acknowledge this video exists because many of you requested it. You asked for the father-to-daughter equivalent of the father-to-son talk. You recognize that if sons need honest guidance about women, daughters need equally honest guidance about men. So this is for you, for your daughters, and for the young women in your lives who need to hear these truths before the world teaches them the wrong lessons. Stay with me. This matters as much as anything we've ever discussed on this channel. #Truth1. Not all men are the same, and the differences matter more than anything. The first and most foundational truth your daughter needs to understand is this: men are not interchangeable. The differences between good men and bad men, between men who will build a life with you and men who will waste your time, between men who will protect you and men who will harm you, these differences are enormous, consistent, and identifiable if you know what to look for. Modern culture teaches your daughter that all men are basically the same, that masculinity itself is problematic, that the differences between individual men are trivial compared to the shared guilt of being male. This is catastrophically wrong, and it leaves young women unable to distinguish between the men they should run toward and the men they should run from. What she needs to know: there are men who will love her, protect her, build with her, stay faithful to her, sacrifice for her, and treat her partnership as sacred. These men exist. They are not rare. They are not unicorns. But they are increasingly invisible to women who have been taught that all men are the same or that masculinity itself is toxic. And there are men who will use her, deceive her, waste her most valuable years, give her nothing she needs while taking everything she offers, and move on without a second thought when something shinier comes along. These men are also not rare, and they are extremely skilled at presenting themselves as the first type while being entirely the second. The single most important skill she will ever develop is the ability to tell the difference before she's invested years in the wrong man. How to recognize a good man. A good man has a mission beyond her. He is building something: a career, a business, a skill, a purpose. He is not directionless. He is not waiting for a woman to give his life meaning. He already has meaning, and he's inviting her to be part of it. This is not him neglecting her. This is him being the kind of man who can actually lead a relationship because he knows where he's going. A good man demonstrates consistency over time. He doesn't change personalities based on circumstances. He doesn't treat her well when he's happy and poorly when he's stressed. His character is stable. His word means something. What he commits to, he follows through on. She can observe this in how he treats everyone, not just her when he's trying to impress her, but his family, his friends, people who can do nothing for him. Consistency of character is one of the most reliable indicators of whether a man will be a good partner long term. A good man has healthy relationships with his family, particularly his mother. The way a man treats his mother is the blueprint for how he will eventually treat his wife. If he respects his mother, speaks well of her, honors her even when disagreeing with her, he has learned how to value women. If he disrespects his mother, speaks poorly of her, treats her with contempt, that pattern will show up in every relationship he has with women. A good man can delay gratification. He doesn't need everything right now. He can work toward long-term goals. He can make sacrifices today for better outcomes tomorrow. This is critical because building a life together requires exactly this capacity, the ability to forego immediate pleasure for long-term stability and success. A good man respects boundaries. When she says no to something, he accepts it without pressure, manipulation, or punishment. He doesn't use guilt or anger to push past her stated limits. He treats her autonomy as legitimate rather than as an obstacle to overcome. Any man who cannot respect a clear no is disqualifying himself. A good man takes accountability. When he's wrong, he admits it. When he makes a mistake, he owns it. He doesn't blame circumstances or other people or her for his failures. He looks at himself honestly and works to do better. This is one of the rarest and most valuable traits in any person, and it is absolutely essential in a long-term partner. How to recognize a bad man? A bad man is all charm in the beginning. He comes on strong, says everything she wants to hear, creates intensity and excitement, and the feeling that this is special, this is different, this is the one. He is performing. And the performance is designed to get her invested quickly before she has time to see who he actually is. A bad man isolates her from her support system. He doesn't like her friends. He has problems with her family. He wants all of her time and attention directed toward him. He makes it difficult for her to maintain the relationships that existed before him. This is not love. This is control. And it is one of the most reliable early warning signs that a man is dangerous. A bad man is inconsistent. He's hot and cold, available and then distant, affectionate and then withdrawn. She never knows which version she's getting. This is not mystery or complexity. This is instability. And instability in a man's character creates instability in everything he touches. A bad man disrespects his mother or speaks poorly of his ex-partners. If every woman in his past was crazy, or if he has only negative things to say about his mother, that tells you how he views women fundamentally. He doesn't respect them. He uses them and discards them, and your daughter will be next. A bad man pressures her sexually. He doesn't accept her timeline. He makes her feel like her boundaries are unreasonable, or like withholding sex means she doesn't really care about him. Any man using sexual pressure is telling you clearly, your needs don't matter to me, only mine do. Believe him. A bad man has no mission, no direction, no purpose beyond immediate pleasure. He is drifting. He has no plans. He is waiting for something to happen to him rather than making things happen. A man with no mission cannot lead a relationship because he doesn't know where he's going. Tell your daughter explicitly the biggest mistake women make is believing they can change a bad man into a good one. They cannot. Character is formed over years, usually in childhood and young adulthood. If a man shows you bad character when you meet him, that is who he is. You will not fix him. You will not be the exception. You will waste years trying and fail, and the only thing you will have changed is how much of your life you lost in the attempt. Choose wisely from the beginning. Pay attention to character, not charm. Observe how he treats people who can do nothing for him. Watch for consistency over months, not intensity over weeks. And when you see bad character, walk away immediately, no matter how attracted you are. #Truth2, your most valuable years are limited. Use them wisely. This is the truth that makes people most uncomfortable because it involves acknowledging biological reality that modern culture pretends doesn't exist. Your daughter has a fertility window. It is not infinite, it is not negotiable, and it is far shorter than she has been led to believe. A woman's fertility peaks in her early 20s and begins declining in her late 20s. By 35, the decline is steep. By 40%, natural conception becomes difficult for many women, and pregnancy carries significantly higher risks. These are not opinions. These are biological facts that have been true for all of human history and remain true despite whatever modern culture wishes were different. What this means practically, if your daughter wants children, and many women do, even women who in their 20s claimed they didn't, she needs to understand that her timeline is not endless. She cannot spend her 20s and early 30s casually dating, exploring, finding herself, pursuing men who are clearly not going to commit, and then decide at 36 that now she's ready to find a serious partner and start a family. The math doesn't work. The biology doesn't work. This is not about pressuring her to marry young or to abandon her education or career. This is about honest information that allows her to make informed decisions about how she allocates her most valuable years. Tell her clearly, the years between 22 and 30 are the most valuable years of her life in the relationship marketplace. She has maximum options during this window. Her fertility is at its peak. Her physical attractiveness is at its peak. The pool of high-quality men interested in serious relationships with her is at its largest. This does not mean these years are her only value or that she becomes worthless afterward. It means that these specific years carry specific advantages that will not be available to her later. And she should be strategic about how she uses them. Strategic means don't waste years on men who are clearly not serious about commitment. If a man is dating you for 2 years and has given no clear indication that marriage is on his horizon, You are being used as a placeholder while he continues to evaluate his options. Move on. Don't delay serious relationships because you're waiting to be ready or to have your life figured out. You will never be completely ready. Your life will never be completely figured out. If you want a family, start building toward that in your 20s, not your late 30s when the biology becomes difficult. Don't sacrifice your fertility years entirely to career advancement while assuming you can just freeze your eggs and deal with family later. Egg freezing is not a guarantee. It fails more often than it succeeds. It is expensive, physically demanding, and psychologically difficult. It should be a backup option, not a primary strategy. Be intentional. If you want marriage and children, date men who also want marriage and children and who are in a life stage where they can actually commit to those things. Don't date men who are 5 years younger than you and not yet established in their careers. Don't date men who explicitly tell you they're not ready for commitment and then wait around hoping they'll change their minds. The hardest truth, many women waste their most valuable years chasing men who were never going to commit or pursuing casual relationships that felt exciting but went nowhere. And then they arrive at 35, ready to get serious, and discover that the landscape has changed. The high-quality men their age are dating women in their 20s. The pool of available men interested in starting families has shrunk dramatically, and the time pressure is now intense because biology is no longer on their side. Your daughter needs to understand this before she lives it, not to create panic or pressure, but to create informed intentionality, so she doesn't look back at 38 with regret about how she spent her 20s. Truth 3, femininity is power. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Modern culture has taught your daughter that femininity is weakness, that anything traditionally feminine is oppressive or limiting, that she should masculinize herself to be taken seriously and to compete with men. This is a catastrophic lie that leaves women profoundly confused about their own nature and their own power. Tell your daughter, femininity is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful forces in human existence. The ability to nurture, to create life, to inspire men to build and protect and sacrifice. This is power that men do not have and cannot replicate. Femininity, properly expressed, is magnetic, valuable, and irreplaceable. What femininity actually is receptivity rather than aggression. It is influence rather than force. It is the ability to create environments where people want to be, to inspire men to become their best selves, to build relationships that are warm and stable and life-giving. Feminine women are not doormats. They are not weak. They are not passive. They are women who understand their own nature, who know what they bring to relationships that is unique and valuable, and who express that nature confidently rather than apologizing for it or suppressing it. Practically, a feminine woman knows how to receive. When a good man wants to provide for her, protect her, solve problems for her, she doesn't reject this as patronizing or unnecessary. She receives it gracefully and appreciates it genuinely. This is not dependence. This is allowing a man to fulfill his role, which is one of the things good men need to feel valued. A feminine woman knows how to inspire rather than nag. When she wants something from a man, she doesn't demand or criticize or complain until he complies. She expresses what she needs clearly, appreciates when he meets those needs, and understands that men respond to appreciation far more powerfully than they respond to criticism. A feminine woman maintains her physical presentation, not because her worth is only physical, but because presentation matters, attraction matters, and the effort she puts into how she presents herself communicates something about how she values herself and how she values her partner. A feminine woman creates peace. Her home is a refuge. Her presence is calming. Men work hard in the world. They compete, they struggle, they face stress and conflict. A feminine woman creates a space where a man can rest from all of that. This is not trivial. This is one of the most valuable things a woman can offer a man. Tell her explicitly the culture is lying to you when it tells you that you need to be more like men to be valuable. You don't. You need to be excellent at being a woman. The women who are excellent at being women, who understand and embrace their femininity rather than fighting against it, these are the women that high-quality men choose for long-term commitment. Don't masculinize yourself to compete with men. You will lose that competition because you're not a man. Instead, be excellent at what only women can be. Be feminine, be receptive, be nurturing. Be the kind of woman who creates the peace and warmth and beauty that makes a man want to build his entire life around you. Truth 4. What good men actually need and why it matters. Your daughter has been taught extensively about what she deserves from men, what she should demand, what her rights are, what she should never tolerate. All of that has value. But she has been taught almost nothing about what good men need from women. And this creates women who cannot keep good men even when they find them. Tell her, if you find a good man, a man of character who loves you, provides for you, protects you, stays faithful to you, sacrifices for you, you have a responsibility to treat him in ways that make him want to stay. This is not subservience. This is partnership. He has needs. You have needs. Meeting each other's needs is what makes relationships work. What good men need respect. This is not optional. This is not secondary to love. For men, respect is the foundation of love. A man who does not feel respected by his woman will not stay, or if he stays, he will be miserable. Respect means she speaks well of him to others, she doesn't criticize him in public, she trusts his judgment, she acknowledges his competence, she doesn't nag or belittle or mock. When she disagrees with him, she does so privately and respectfully. When he makes decisions as the leader of the household, she supports them rather than undermining them. Good men need appreciation. Men are doers. They solve problems. They provide. They fix things. They take action. And they need to know that what they do is seen and valued. A woman who constantly criticizes, who focuses only on what he didn't do or didn't do well enough, who takes his efforts for granted, that woman is destroying her man's motivation to keep trying. Tell him what he does well. Thank him for his efforts. Acknowledge the sacrifices he makes. Appreciation is fuel for men. Good men need physical intimacy. This is not trivial. This is not optional. For men, physical intimacy is how emotional connection is expressed and maintained. A woman who withdraws physical intimacy or makes it conditional on his perfect performance, or uses it as a reward system, that woman is severing the primary way her man experiences being loved. Prioritize physical intimacy. Be available. Be enthusiastic. Understand that for him, this is not separate from love. This is love. Good men need peace. Men face stress and conflict in the world constantly. They compete in their careers. They handle difficult people. They carry the weight of provision and protection. They need their home to be a refuge from that. A woman who creates constant drama, who picks fights, who is emotionally volatile, who fills the home with tension and conflict, that woman is removing the one place a man should be able to rest. Create peace. Be a calming presence. Don't bring chaos into the one space that should be stable. Good men need loyalty. Absolute, unwavering loyalty. A woman who flirts with other men, who maintains inappropriate relationships with male friends or ex-partners, who threatens to leave when conflicts arise, who speaks poorly of him to others. That woman is violating one of the core needs men have. Be loyal. Demonstrate through your actions that you have chosen him and that choice is permanent. Don't create insecurity about whether you're actually committed. Good men need to be needed. Men build their identity around being useful, being capable, being the person others depend on. A woman who is so independent that she makes it clear she doesn't need him for anything. That woman is removing one of the primary ways men feel valuable in relationships. Let him help you. Let him solve problems for you. Let him provide for you. Let him protect you. This is not dependence. This is allowing him to fulfill the role that makes him feel like a man. Tell your daughter clearly, none of this is about becoming a doormat or suppressing your own needs or pretending to be something you're not. This is about understanding that good men have legitimate needs in relationships and that meeting those needs is how you keep a good man once you find him. The woman who respects her man, appreciates his efforts, maintains physical intimacy, creates peace, demonstrates loyalty, and allows him to be needed. That woman will keep her good man for life. He will build his world around her. He will sacrifice anything for her. He will stay faithful to her when other women are available, because she is giving him what he actually needs, not just what culture told her she's supposed to give. #Truth5, your sexual history matters. Protect yourself accordingly. This is the most controversial truth on this list and the one most likely to generate outrage. But it is true. It is backed by data, and your daughter needs to hear it before she makes choices she cannot undo. Your sexual history will affect your ability to pair bond and your likelihood of having a stable long-term relationship. This is not a moral judgment. This is not about shame. This is about biological and psychological reality that has been documented in research that culture refuses to discuss because it contradicts the sexual liberation narrative. The data shows clearly the more sexual partners a woman has before marriage, the higher her likelihood of divorce. This effect is significant and consistent. A woman with 0 or 1 prior sexual partners has the lowest divorce risk. The risk increases with each additional partner. By the time a woman has had 10 or more partners, her divorce risk is dramatically elevated. This is not because she's damaged or used up or any of the cruel language that gets thrown around. This is because pair bonding, the psychological and biological process through which humans form exclusive long-term attachments, is weakened by repeated sexual bonding with multiple partners. Each sexual relationship creates biochemical bonding that, when broken, makes the next bond slightly weaker. By the time a woman has had many sexual partners, her capacity to bond deeply with one person has been significantly compromised. What this means practically, casual sex has a cost. That cost is not immediately visible. In the moment, it feels consequence-free. But the research shows that those consequences appear years later in reduced relationship satisfaction and increased likelihood of divorce. Your daughter does not need to sleep with many men to figure out what she likes, or to have experiences, or to explore her sexuality. What she needs is to find one good man and build a life with him. And her ability to do that successfully is higher if she has not bonded with and then broken bonds with multiple other men first. Tell her clearly, protect yourself. Understand that every sexual relationship creates a bond and that breaking that bond has a cost. Don't accumulate a sexual history that will compromise your ability to stay bonded to the man you eventually marry. And understand that high-quality men who are serious about marriage care about this. They don't want to hear that your sexual past doesn't matter or that it's none of their business. They are making a permanent commitment. They are giving you their resources, their name, their genetic legacy. They want to know that you have the capacity to bond with them exclusively and that you have protected that capacity. The woman who has been with many men has demonstrated that she does not value sexual exclusivity highly, that she bonds and unbonds easily, and that her commitment to one man is likely to be less stable than the commitment of a woman who has had few partners. This is not unfair judgment. This is pattern recognition based on evidence. Choose carefully. Protect your ability to pair bond. Don't give yourself to men who are not serious about you. And understand that your sexual choices now will affect your relationship outcomes for the rest of your life. #Truth6. If you find a good man, choose him and commit. This is perhaps the simplest and most important truth of all. If you find a good man who loves you, who wants to build a life with you, who demonstrates the character and the commitment and the capability to be a good husband and father, choose him, commit to him, stop looking for someone better. Stop wondering if you're settling. Stop listening to friends who are single and miserable telling you that you can do better. Choose him and build with him. Too many women find good men and then destroy those relationships through their own doubt, their own fear of missing out, their own belief that they should have everything perfect before committing, their own inability to recognize that what they have is rare and valuable. Tell your daughter there is no perfect man. The man who is perfect for you is the good man who loves you and wants to build with you. If you wait for perfect, you will wait forever, and you will die alone, surrounded by cats and regrets. When you find a good man, stop comparing him to an imaginary ideal. He is not going to be tall and rich and emotionally available and spontaneous and stable and exciting all at the same time. No man is all of those things. He is going to have strengths and weaknesses like every human being. If his strengths are substantial, if he is good to you, loyal to you, capable of good character, then his weaknesses are things you work with rather than reasons to keep searching. Stop listening to single friends. Your single friends are single for a reason. Often that reason is that they don't know how to choose well or commit well or treat good men well. Their advice is based on why they're failing. Don't take relationship advice from people whose relationships are disasters. Stop testing him. If he is good to you consistently, you don't need to create drama or difficult situations to see how he'll respond. You already know how he'll respond. He'll be good to you. Testing him just creates unnecessary conflict and makes him question whether you're actually committed. Start building. The life you want with a good man is not handed to you. It is built over years through daily choices to prioritize the relationship, to work through conflicts, to support each other, to choose each other again and again. Start that building process and trust that the partnership itself will be more valuable than anything you're giving up. Commit fully. Don't keep one foot out the door. Don't maintain backup options. Don't stay on dating apps just to see what's out there. Choose him completely. Demonstrate through your actions that you are all in. Men can feel when you're not fully committed, and it affects how they invest in you. The women who are happily married long-term are not women who found perfect men. They are women who found good men and chose them fully and built lives with them patiently over years. That is the path that works. Everything else is a fantasy that will leave you alone. #Truth7. Your father loves you more than any man ever will. Use that love as your standard. Let me close with this. Tell your daughter, I am the first man who ever loved you. I loved you before you were born. I loved you when you were helpless and had nothing to offer me. I loved you when you were difficult and when you were easy. I have loved you unconditionally your entire life, and I am telling you, no romantic partner will ever love you the way I love you. That is not their role. They will love you romantically, passionately, as a partner. But the unconditional love you received from me is something different and something you cannot expect to find in a husband. What you can expect, and what you should demand, is a man who loves you well, who treats you with respect and kindness, who protects you and provides for you, who stays faithful to you, who builds a life with you, who chooses you every day. Use my love as your baseline. Any man who treats you worse than I have treated you is disqualifying himself. Any man who speaks to you in ways I would never speak to you doesn't deserve you. Any man who makes you feel unsafe or disrespected or small, that man needs to go. But also understand, I have spoiled you with unconditional love your entire life. A husband cannot replicate that. He will love you conditionally based on how you treat him, how you respect him, whether you meet his needs. This is not a failing on his part. This is normal adult romantic love. Don't reject good men because their love doesn't feel like the unconditional love you received from me. I want you to be happy. I want you to find a good man who will love you and protect you and build a beautiful life with you. I want you to avoid the mistakes that so many women make, wasting time on bad men, rejecting good men, entering marriage unprepared, destroying good relationships through behavior nobody taught you was destructive. Everything I have told you today, I told you because I love you, not to control you, not to limit you, but to give you information that will protect you and help you make wise choices. The world is going to lie to you about men, about relationships, about what makes women happy long term. I am telling you the truth because I love you more than the world does. Use that truth. Make wise choices. Protect yourself. Choose well. And when you find a good man, treat him the way he deserves to be treated so you can keep him. I will always love you, and I will always be here. Final thoughts to fathers watching this, gentleman. Your daughters need this conversation. They need it before the world fills their heads with lies about men, before they waste their valuable years on men who don't deserve them, before they develop patterns that will make it hard to keep good men even when they find them. This conversation is uncomfortable. It contradicts the culture. It will generate resistance. Have it anyway. Your daughter's future, her happiness, her family, her stability depends substantially on the choices she makes about men in her late teens and 20s. She will make those choices based on whatever information she has. Either you give her accurate information or culture gives her lies. Be the father who loved her enough to tell her the truth, even when the truth was hard, even when it contradicted what everyone else was telling her, because you know that truth protects and lies destroy. Your daughter is watching you. She is learning from you what men are, what good men do, how women should be treated. Be the model she deserves, and then have the conversation that gives her the information she needs to choose wisely when she's ready to choose. Drop a comment if you're a father who's had this conversation or is planning to. Share what resonated. Share what you'd add. This community is built on fathers helping other fathers raise the next generation well. Subscribe because this channel will continue having the conversations about family, fatherhood, and male-female dynamics that culture refuses to have honestly. Stay healthy.